Whatever it is, we are going to be live by God's grace. Whether the network wants it or not, we are going to be live. So, pray that this network, we are going to win over it, because someone will be healed tonight. Someone will be healed tonight. So, whether the network likes it or not, we are going to go on live with Sarah News Consult, because it's important that we help many, one life at a time. And she has brought her story because she needs to help someone. How she grew from losing a child to healing people, getting better herself, and becoming okay. Okay, finally. Thank you, Lord. Lord. So, we are all waiting for Sarah News Consult. Please bear with us. She's going to come on now. So just begin to wonder in your mind. I don't know what it's like. This pain, she's going to tell us all by herself, what this looks like, like firsthand, what it looks like. Yes, thank you so much, Afani Mebasi. Please give me just a minute. Okay, so we are still waiting for Sarah News Consult to join us. I just guess it's the network. We are all living in Nigeria. Please bear with us. Yes, we are all going to learn. We're going to learn healing tonight. I don't know why the network is doing this to us, but we'll hold on, because when we talk about the story of pain, okay. So I have sent a request to Sarah News Consult. We are waiting for her to join us. We pray that this network allows us. Oh God! Thank God! Thank God! What kind of village people is this one now? Hey!
I had to keep changing from one device to another.
Can you imagine? Hey! Thank God! Good evening.
Good evening.
Good to have you here, and thank you for agreeing to do this for me, for the world, for that parent, for that mom, for that dad, for that sibling that is hurting. Thank you so much energy. I know. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So thank you so much. So welcoming you and saying thank you. Welcome to Parents Wey Sabi Instagram Live that I call Insta Life O'Clock. So may we know you.
Okay, knowing me. Well, let's there's no one way. I would like to start with an appreciation. I would like to say thank you so much, Amaka, for having me on the platform this night, the platform Parents Wey Sabi, to tell my story and possibly keep some point. So I'm quite delighted to be here tonight. It is a honor. Thank you. So who am I? Who am I really? There's no one way to define me. But I would like to say that I'm a limited edition of a living spring that have been properly trained through the brook of pain and loss. And I'm now on my journey of becoming a global serenity icon for optimal mental health and peak performance. So I'm a wounded healer, really, a symbol of
A
strength,
wounded healer.
resilience, and wisdom. I've evolved slowly but surely at my own pace until I have become all that I'm destined to be. So every part of me is useful because I'm unique. I'm a boba tree. Business-wise, you'd be right to call me a serenity coach. I help people rise above their life challenges, ranging from parenting challenges, marriage challenges,
Yeah.
workplace, traumatic situations like grief, which I've gone through, fear, anxiety, suicidal cases. And I do this to help them to attain serenity, optimal mental health, and peak performance. All you need to do is to come to me with your problem. I will take care of the rest. I do this through counseling and training. So my parents gave me the name Chineye, but marriage gave me Nwaobi. So I am Chineye Nwaobi, and I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. Lastly, my favorite pastime would be seeing a movie with family or shopping. Even when I'm not necessarily buying anything, just going around, seeing beautiful things. Because life is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, that's who I am.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to get to that place. This serenity, I'm going to finally get to why, but let's leave it for now. But I have a clause on that serenity. Because serenity is all about serenity is all about peace, calmness, finding you even in the noise that resides within you.
Exactly.
So let's get to this wounded healer. How did we get wounded? Before we talk about how we got healed, what was that thing that gave us this wound? How did we get wounded?
In life we experience different kinds of pain, different kinds of wound. But there's always this wound that would feel a sense of attachment to. So mine would be the death of my daughter, and through it, I found purpose, really. I found purpose. And you know that the strength of the healer is in the wounds of the healer. If only you look closely. So I found purpose through that. My wounds, basically, would be the death of my daughter. Yeah.
So how did this happen?
Okay. Who's ready for this story?
We are, because we are here. We are here, like we are. We are here.
I like to start with a song,
Okay, the floor is yours. It belongs to you.
I call it my high tonic, Once I'm on that tonic, I'm high. So
it's okay.
It's a song.
The floor belongs to you.
It's a popular song by Josh Groban. You Raised Me Up. So I will go. When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened pain, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit along a while with me. You raised me up so I can stand on mountains. You raised me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raised me up more than I can be. You raised me up to stand on solid mountains. You raised me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raised me up to more than Yeah. I'm taking my tonic, high tonic, so we can tell our story.
All right.
Basically, the death of my daughter was not my first time handling a dying loved one. But this was my first time holding my expectation in my hand and watching it slip away, and I could do nothing. After she was diagnosed of having reacted to a medication, treatment commenced and she was responding. The most painful part about her death was the fact that she was declared healed and was supposed to be discharged. She died the day she was to be discharged. That's the most painful part about her death. So my journey of grief began with the loss of grandmothers. And it is true that in this part of the world, we make it look trivial. Or maybe I would say, I didn't feel the pain that much. Maybe because I was younger when it happened. But research have shown us that no matter the pain, the loss, or the grief, if untreated, it have a way of remaining with us. After the loss of grandparents, I also experienced the loss of brother-in-law. That one pained me because I practically held him in my hands while he died. He died right in my hands. And, with that, I thought I'd actually known what the pain of grief was. But how wrong I was. Very wrong. Then there came this miscarriage, then the subsequent death of my granddad. His death was like a party. I should be up and down because he died at 120 years. So while my dad was grieving, I don't understand. To me, this old man is dead. Why you push? This man is old. Why are you punching yourself? But I never knew I was saving up my tears for a deeper loss. So fast forward to 2 months after his burial, which was in November, I lost my daughter. The loss of my daughter dealt a big blow at me because it was very, very sudden and unexpected. It dealt a big blow at me because I went through a lot having her. And 2 years after she has bonded with the family and staying with the family, she left. She was a very healthy child. She only had flu, cough in this part of the world. And the doctor administered a medication. She was sulfonamide. So for people who don't know, sulfonamide is a medical reaction whereby you are sensitive to any medication containing sulfur. So my daughter was sulfonamide. I was not supposed to take any medication containing sulfur. When we got to the hospital and the doctor brought that medication, by the way, she only had flu, cough. My husband asked the doctor, I'm sure there's no sulfur in this medication. And the doctor, in a usual Nigerian way, I don't think so. No, there's no sulfur. So he administered the medication. I took her home and we were giving her the supposed flu medication. And she was getting better. She was getting well. We celebrated the most wonderful and special Christmas together with her because this was around the Christmas period. After that, she was fine. School resumed. The holiday was over. I enrolled her into school. So she was such a wonderful, little, pretty damsel in her little school uniform. We went off to school the first day, the second day. I practically pulled the teacher by the ear because she was like the egg, I said, anything in my exact words, just call me immediately. She has plenty people that can fight for her. She has 5 soldiers,
Oh my!
So with that, you can imagine my joy when I had her. Haven't had 4 boys already. So with that, the teacher was, extra careful with her. All I knew that day was that the teacher called me on her second day of resumption to said, Veridian will not eat. And I'm like, will not eat. There's nothing wrong with her. I just dropped her off. Barely an hour, 30 minutes after I dropped her off, I was called back to school. So I drove down to her school. and I noticed she now had 3 little rashes on her face.
Mm.
I couldn't make a
Mm.
meaning out of that. She was also running temperature. So I drove straight to the hospital. And because I couldn't make a meaning out of that, I drove straight to the hospital. By the way, our Nigerian medical system is a wreck.
Mm.
All we need to do is pray not to fall sick. Pray not to fall sick. Never, never fall sick. And that's by, prevention, going for regular checkup, so that you don't get
Yes.
into any situation where you are down, completely down.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
got to the hospital, and I kept on asking the doctor, what's this rash on her skin? What's this?
Mm.
The weather is not hot. I don't understand. She's not sleeping in a crowded place. Their normal routine, he was asking me, did she take all her vaccine? Did she take measles? So many questions, blah, blah, blah. And my answers were yes, all her vaccines were complete. So next, then, also confused, apparently, what they gave her was vitamin A, and yet another anti-malaria, and another antibiotic, in suspicion of measles and malaria, I guess. So we went home and started that medication. 3 days into taking the medication, my little angel was not getting better. Instead, that little rash has magnified into blisters, and I was scared. So I kept on going to the hospital to ask, what's happening? I was in the hospital practically every day, but I got no tangible response or result.
Mm.
What I did by the 4th day was that I made a video of her, and I sent to my brother, who, by the way, is also a medical doctor, a surgeon, but he's not resident in Lagos. So I sent her clip via video message to him, and I said, I don't understand what's happening. Later that night, he called me and asked me some questions, and his reply to me was heart-wrenching, because if his reply was diagnosed by a doctor at the right time, what happened? Well, let's don't say it wouldn't have happened, because we are not God, but maybe it would have been averted. So in his words, he said, your daughter is reacting to a medication. Take her to the hospital immediately and ask them to give her Dialcott. If you see me that night, I was like a mad person. I practically ran out of my house in my inner wears. I was putting on my nightwear, just about to eat. So empty belly, I wore 2 different slippers as a pair, and I got to the hospital. When we arrived at the hospital in company of my husband, the doctor was acting confused. So I said, this is what another doctor said. And here, when you are saying what a doctor said, they don't take you serious, because they feel, okay, do you want to teach me my work or what? I don't understand. So I said, this is what my brother, he's a doctor, this is what he said. He said she should be given Dialcott immediately. So the doctor was acting confused and apparently afraid too to administer the medication. He was just delaying, going up and down, answering phone calls, up and down, pacing right to the hospital, and I was shouting, don't you have Dialcott? He said, I have it. Give it to her. What is? We kept on like that, and he was delaying up about 45 minutes, and I was watching my little angel die. Nothing was done at about 45 minutes of even getting to the hospital, but only phone calls. He appeared after them to say he was transferring us to a general hospital, that is where her case will be adequately managed. And I said no, because I've never used the general hospital all my life, but I hear their story, I hear about their gruesome attitude, and I refuse to go. So he said, in cases like this, that's the place they go, that no private hospital will handle this. I kept on saying that he should call in a specialist into their own hospital, but all to no avail. All I knew was that he took us to this general hospital, and against our wish, by the way, and in his own way of saying he's assisting us, he got a doctor who registered us and, was attending to us before he left. So that doctor set up a drip line for my baby that night, administered the Dialcott. Shortly after, my baby is a very active child. She started to play. Remember, I said she was not sick, really, in the sense of it. So she's a very active child. She was playing all through, and I was watching her all through the night, sleep did not cross my eyes because she was trying to tamper with the drip line, you know, to pull it. So I was awake all through the night trying to keep her stable. However, seeing that she's a child that was filled with life, when the night passed and in the morning, I had to use the bathroom because there's a limit to how I can just stay constantly without moving. I'm also human. So I was pressed and I had to use the bathroom in the morning, and I quickly rushed to the bathroom only to return, and obviously she had pulled out the drip line and was playing in her own blood. Nobody even noticed it. And then I screamed for help but did not get any. And then the drama of General Hospital started. For 24 hours going up to 48 hours, we did not find any doctor that would set up another drip line for her to continue that diaphragm. And normally, she has this difficult vein. It's difficult to locate her vein. The doctors and the nurses haven't tried like one or two. They didn't find her vein. They abandoned us. So, and the building of this hospital is quite high. I don't want to mention names, right? So we've healed and we've moved on. I wouldn't want to indict any doctor or any hospital, so I wouldn't be mentioning names of hospital. So it had no elevator. I was going up and down about 3-story building. We were in the last floor with my baby in my hand, pleading from one doctor's office to another to get help so that they will set up the line for her to continue this dial code, because my brother stressed on the need of taking that dial code. By 24 hours, we did not get any help, and she started deteriorating. She was peeling. If you see her picture when she died, you will ask me who dropped her into hot oil. She was practically peeling. And we didn't get any help, so we decided to move out on our own to another hospital. So we got to yet another private hospital after 36 hours of not getting any help. So for 36 hours, she was not on this dial code, and I was watching her go down. In this new hospital, immediately they got her drip line, and that's why I say our medical system is a wreck, right? Because it didn't take them 5 minutes or 10 in this private hospital to get another drip line for her. However, we had lost 36 hours. And then the doctor started the dial code again, and my baby started recovering. But, you know, because of that 36 hours gap, we had to bring in 4 specialists to manage her. 4 different specialists. So she had a pediatrician, she had an ENT doctor because she was also peeling in her eyes everywhere. She had a skin doctor, she had a nutritionist. You know, the harm at this time was massive already, and they were doing their best. However, she started recovering. She was getting better. She was doing great. And that was about the 5th or, 6, 7 days thereabouts. She was doing well. She was recovering. And, for me, I felt the worst was over, because by this time, everything appeared fine. She was recovering, just for the wounds on her body to heal, which I know will take some time. But at least she was out of danger. She was not using dial code again. They were just administering normal, medications, trying to boost her immune and all that. She had an immunologist too. So by the 7th day, yes, she was declared okay. They even referred us to go and run some scans so they would check all her internal organs and everything. So we went for that scan. Everything came out fine. She was declared okay, and we're supposed to be discharged. But the doctor said we should stay 2 more days for observation. And her pediatrician and resident doctor have also confirmed her healed and okay. We're off drips. We're just waiting for this observation in these 2 days. Unknown to us that the visiting pediatrician had in this new hospital again. It was just as if, no, there's a gang up in my case. So the visiting pediatrician, her pediatrician, had told the resident doctor 2 days earlier to carry out a transfusion on her. And we were not informed. Nobody told us. she wrote it in the file. You know, the way with these consultants, for her, she had made her recommendations. It's the duty of the resident doctor to carry out the recommendation. The resident doctor never mentioned it to us. He didn't tell us. And lack of communication, I would say. And we were there rejoicing that she will be discharged in 2 days' time. In fact, a day to the day she will be discharged, I came home, you know, cooked, baked, dressed her room, got everywhere ready in, you know, preparation for her return. I've been away from home for like over 10 days, going into 2 weeks. So I had to get things ready, only to return to the hospital. And the doctor said to me, "Where is your husband?" You know, the panic with which he asked me, I became apprehensive myself. And, you know, I had to start calling my husband. That's the first day he left the hospital, by the way. You know, we are now relaxed that we'll be discharged. And he just said to me, let me even get to my business and see what's happening there. He had not gone all this while. So that's the first day he stepped out of that hospital. So I started calling him, you know, in anxiety and everything. And he practically disappeared and appeared in the hospital. The tension in my voice and everything. And the doctor said, she needs an urgent transfusion. How? When? What happened? You know, we're confused. And these were all my unanswered questions. The environment suddenly became chaotic and the joy evaporated. So firstly, I was confused and then angry because I found out that the transfusion was supposed to have been done. But the doctor took the risk of watching without even informing the parents. So the next thing was panic, then prayers. That was my only hope then. So I prayed in every language I knew then. And this doctor took the risk against the advice of the pediatrician to carry out a transfusion. He started administering blood tonic to boost her blood. Because it was when all these things unraveled. By the way, I didn't know all this information until I lost her. So I met with the pediatrician one day. I've gone to register in her own hospital, which is not in Festac, by the way. So I met with the pediatrician, and with joy, she's like, hi, Sverijan. And I said, she's normal. And she was shocked to her bone marrow. What happened? When I narrated the part of the story that I know, how she started reacting after the transfusion, she said, no, transfusion was supposed to have done XYZ day. I said, no, it was done on so day. And that was when she told me, no, I recommended this. And I remembered it was the day she said she recommended that the doctor came in and told us that he needed to start her on blood tonic. So even without informing us, he took the risk of watching to boost her blood with blood tonic instead of doing the transfusion. So the pediatrician had recommended a packed blood cell transfusion. But when it became urgent, what they gave her was fresh blood, not even packed blood cell. So things did not turn out well. Everything became chaotic when she needed that urgent transfusion, which, by the way, was done in a hurry. Things went bad. And that day of the transfusion, you know, after the transfusion went well. After the transfusion, you know, I was just watching her. She was just calm. But I noticed she held me so tight, unlike other days, as if she was saying goodbye. I didn't understand it. I asked them. It was midnight. I said, can I feel her? They said, no, I should wait till morning. And that was, the next morning was the day we were to be discharged. So I was waiting. I didn't know our fate, if they would still discharge us, you know. By 3 a.m., the hour of mercy, you know, she held me so tight. I couldn't sleep myself. I just knew that I got up and I was praying. And next thing, she started gasping, you know. My husband was with us in the hospital. I had to go call her. As soon as he stepped in, she started gasping for breath. She was gasping for breath. And then this doctor just rushed in, and all he did was to transfer us again to another general hospital. Yeah.
Hey.
So 3 a.m., we were on a mad rush to a general hospital in Ikeja. That 30 minutes there, it was my worst drive, my worst 30 minutes ever in life. We arrived there at about 4 a.m. on a very beautiful Saturday morning. And yeah, we arrived there and we started running around looking for doctors, as it is with the general hospital. And you know, it's early morning, so they were sleeping. We were looking for doctors, trying to open up another new hospital card, begging doctors to come down, crying for oxygen. It was a whole lot. And eventually, when the doctor came down, I remember clearly, the doctor said to me, "There's no space. There's no space." And I told her, "We'll stay on the floor. No problem." So amidst tears, you know, I held the doctor. I said, "Help me. She's my only daughter. Help me." And all she said to me is, "Would you bring oxygen?" And I said, "Yes, yes, yes. I'll bring. How many do you need? How many?" I don't even know that oxygen is another matter. How many do you want? But by the way, I must say, God bless that doctor tremendously, because actually when we went in, there was actually no space. There was no bed. She cleared the nursing table and started attending to my daughter on the nursing table. There was no space. So she placed my daughter there. She tried her best to save her, but it was late. If you see me then, it was my longest wait ever, despite being very short. So after a long try by the doctor to resuscitate her, I saw the doctor check her pulse, you know, opened her eyes, tried CPR, you know, she tried different things, and finally she turned to us and she said, "I'm sorry, she's no more." Yeah. That was how the news broke to me. To Ross, by the way, my husband was there, and I went numb, you know, no feelings. Like, I went numb. Watching her die slowly and could not save her was very traumatic. But she was gone, and I couldn't save her. After a while, I ran out of the ward. I just went outside and I sat down. I was receiving fresh air, looking up and down. I could not cry. I was not crying. After about 45 minutes, I came back into the ward. Remember, there's no space. So by the way, my baby's corpse was on the nursing table. So there was a need, you know, to clear. There were other patients too there. People crying up and down, waiting for oxygen too. One oxygen, by the way. People were begging. I came with my own oxygen at least. I came with my own oxygen. People were waiting on queue. People's children that needed oxygen were waiting to rotate oxygen pipe. It's not a sin to behold. It's not a sin to behold. So we completed the procedure and we received her body. By then, I was like a wounded lion. I did not allow anybody to touch her. I did not allow anybody to come near. I carried her all through, from the hospital in the vehicle to the house, into the house. I didn't allow anybody to touch her. I got her ready for laying in stage. I dressed her up, and, you know, I was just there. All I knew is that I went into work mode. I remember the priest, my priest, clearly asking me, "Chi, are you okay?" And I said to him, "Yes, I'm fine." You know, when it was time to lay her in state, maybe because I wasn't crying and maybe they felt I was acting a little bit abnormal. So they were plotting on how to prevent me from being present because I wasn't crying. And, you know, my priest was suggesting, should they get a doctor to sedate her and all that. So they were trying to protect me, I know. But I noticed, and I openly told them, I said, I don't need any doctor. And then I've been the one caring for her all her life. If at all you have any small like this love for me, do not deny me of this last end with her. I want to be with her to the end. So when I said that there's this elderly mom in the family, she now said they should leave me, you know. And the priest made me promise him I won't cry, I won't dramatize and all that. Yeah, I gave him the promise and I was there. We laid her to rest and they asked, is there anything you want to give her? All that came to my mind, she had this very favorite dress. she likes guy, right? At that very little age, because I'll always dress her up, bangles, jewelries. Even if one drop, she would just come with her hand. Ma, she will show you. At that early age, she understood those things. So it was easy for me to know what her favorite dress was. And then I dropped it into her grave and a rosary. I'm a Catholic. I dropped it into her grave as my parting gift. And yeah, she's gone. That's it. That's my story. There's a mystery in death beyond dying itself. That's how I can see this story. So I've chopped up some things for the sake of time, but yeah, this is really my story. I hope to use this knowledge from her loss to help a lot of people, families that are going through grief, through my coaching, counseling, so that they can find closure and healing. I want to bring serenity, light, and love to grieving and troubled hearts. That's me. That's my story. That's how we got here.
Wow. This is deep. I'm just thinking about the carelessness of the medical system in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about so many things doctors take like they are nothing.
For granted.
Before you treat somebody, couldn't we have asked, do they have allergy to something? Are they reacting to anything?
On her card. It is boldly written on her card.
It was actually written on her card. Which means that they didn't even read it. They didn't even take notice of that.
And we still asked. We still asked. My doctor said, I hope this drug does not contain sulfur. We asked. We always do. And the fact that there's no censoring body, there's no body really. Yes. That medical association is just a name in quotes. They do nothing. Because if they actually do, how would I have traveled across 4 hospitals and nobody gave adequate, from a private hospital to a general hospital, then to a private hospital and back to general hospital? I wouldn't really blame the last general hospital because we came in late. Yeah, we came in late.
How long did you stay mourning? Did you eventually get to cry your tears, or did you keep them within you? Did you want to stay strong, or did you eventually get to cry in your own closet? How did you take it? How did your husband take it?
So the truth is that all the while, I might not have dropped tears, but I was grieving. Up until now, when I went for knowledge, I didn't understand that I was grieving. I thought I was being a strong woman. So everybody would be like, you are strong. In fact, you come to my house to check me, we'll gist and we'll laugh. The only difference is that, I was really tattered, but we'll gist, we'll laugh. And for me, I thought I was being strong, but my sister, far from being strong, it was my style of grieving. So there are different styles to grieving. So it was when I acquired knowledge that I found out that I was an instrumental griever. What this group of grievers do is that they switch into work mode. Unlike the intuitive grievers who really shed tears. So basically, that's what I was doing. I was working. I didn't allow anybody to touch her. I did everything myself. I dressed her up. I didn't care. I was everywhere. So and still I shed tears at some point. So in answering your question, yes, there was a day I really cried and I thought I was going to die that day. And that was like 3 weeks after she left. So I was crying and my whole body was quivering. Even my
What triggered that?
What
triggered that? Something would have triggered that moment. What made you cry? Something would have triggered it.
Certainly. So I was watching her pictures.
Right.
So I was watching her pictures and I came to that, as if I needed to have a last moment picture with her. So that 3 a.m. when everything was acting up, I took a snapshot of her. And that was the last picture of her I had alive. So I was looking at that picture and suddenly I started, it was a case of self-blame. Mommy couldn't do anything to help you. Mommy couldn't do anything to save you. Oh, and then, that was it.
You know, this thing you said now, I think most parents who have lost their children, I think one of the things they suffer from most is that self-blame. I couldn't help my child. I could have done this. I could have done this. I think maybe that is why it takes them longer time to heal. I could have done this. I would have moved out immediately. They didn't have this medicine. I could have gone abroad. I could have,
In fact, my husband, while we were in the hospital, 3 days, my husband said, "Are you sure we shouldn't fly with her? She has a valid US visa, still valid as we speak. Still valid as we speak." So when my husband said this, I was like, Ibiakwa, what's that? Is it because she's the only girl? Please relax. She's getting better. The doctor said they're discharging us in 2 days' time. So for him, that was the massive point. It came to my mind. I would have traveled with her. I would have, all that, yeah.
Wow. So how did your son take the loss? Because I know your sons also were grieving, but they might not be speaking about it.
Obviously, that's one part that is, usually grossly neglected. So I will start first from the part of how I found healing, because I need to be healed to even help them. So before we arrived home that day, we made an arrangement to take them out of the house. So they didn't even see her cups. Yeah, they didn't see her cups. All they knew is that mommy went to hospital with Saul and never returned with her. So, so they didn't see her cups. We made an arrangement to take them out, but towards evening, we had to bring them back home. We laid her to rest the same day. So by the time they came back home, we had concluded that procedure. And, everybody is looking around. Mommy, where's Saul? Mommy. By the way, they thought we were back. That's the day we were supposed to be discharged. So they thought we were back for good. So they rushed in with this anticipation to see their sister that had been in the hospital. And her immediate senior, who is my last son, have this close bond and attachment with her. In fact, he was the one that gave her the name Queen Saw. He would tickle her on the cheek and say, pretty Saw, pretty girl, all that. So when they came in and we broke the news, for him, he couldn't make a meaning out of it. He was 5 years. He was 5 years then, because it's 3 years since I lost her. So he was 5 years then. So he didn't understand what she has gone to heaven. Okay. He's trying to puzzle it. So he asked me, Mommy, when are we going to heaven to see Saul?
Oh.
That was the question. When I told him, that was the question he asked me. And then my third son, by the way, is someone that is like introverted. So for him, he was equally numb. And then my second son started shivering. It was my first son that really, understood. He was calm. And we didn't break the news to him the day we did to his siblings, because he's in boarding school. But, there's this thing about blood being thicker than water.
Yes. There will be a feeling signal there.
We arrived home, we had calls. He was the first person that called me